Hello everyone, this is Cherie, and today I want to talk about some documentaries I've been watching this week, all about Hollywood. Going in alphabetical order, the first documentary is Billy Wilder Speaks, and this was an interview that took place in 1988 with the famed director and screenwriter Billy Wilder. Billy Wilder was born in what is now Austria. He moved to Paris and then America, escaping the Nazis. Billy Wilder won 3 screenplay Oscars for The Lost Weekend, Sunset Boulevard, and The Apartment. His film Some Like It Hot lost the screenplay Oscar to Room at the Top. And I'm sure everyone remembers Room at the Top over Some Like It Hot. Billy Wilder was also known for Ace in the Hole, also known as The Big Carnival, one of my favorite films, Stalag 17, and The 7-Year Itch. This documentary is a little over an hour. It's not very long, and it is half in German, half in English. It was a fun watch. I mean, I love Billy Wilder, but I have to say I really don't remember a lot about it after having seen it. So would I recommend it? Only if you're really into Billy Wilder. The next documentary is The Bronze Screen. This analyzes the portrayal of Latinos in Hollywood, and I love this documentary. The documentary begins showing all the negative stereotypes that started from the beginning in the silent era, black and white films, where the Mexicans were the bad guys and the Mexican women were the bad girls. And all these different stereotypes, the Latin lover, the fool, the greaser, the gangster, and it's just very interesting. And then at the end it shows how, finally the Latin community is able to do their own writing, directing, and make the movies portraying them in less than stereotypical ways like they were in the beginning. And I just thoroughly enjoyed this. There's a section on people being asked to change their names, and the stars who agreed to change their names, and then the stars who said, no, that's part of my identity and I'm keeping my name. There's also a section, I had never heard of this, it's called The Graveyard Shift. And that is where a movie that was shot during the day on a set would then be shot at night in the Spanish language version. And the one that they showed in the documentary was Dracula. So they used the same sets and everything. So at 6 p.m., the Spanish language cast would come in, do their makeup and get ready, and then they're shooting by 8 p.m. and then they shoot overnight. And then the next morning, the English language cast comes back in. Good use of sets and locations. The next documentary is Hitchcock Truffaut. This is actually a film about the book called Hitchcock Truffaut. It was about Alfred Hitchcock, one of the most famous thriller directors, that was written by Francois Truffaut, who was one of the most famous French New Wave directors. Hitchcock was best known for like Psycho, Rebecca, North by Northwest, Strangers on a Train, I love that one. Truffaut did The 400 Blows, Jules and Jim, Day for Night. So, these were just 2 excellent filmmakers talking about film. So it shows the interviews with some translation from French to English. I liked this. It was fun to watch how Alfred Hitchcock breaks down movies and stuff. The next documentary, Hitler's Hollywood. So doesn't really take place in Hollywood, USA, but the German film industry was really smart about how they got their propaganda out. And they made thousands of videos during the war years and the rise of the Nazis. The obvious one is Triumph of the Will, Leni Riefenstahl's documentary about the Nuremberg Rally. All the films were overseen by Hitler's Minister of Propaganda, and death and the nobility of dying for the fatherland were a prominent theme throughout a lot of these movies. It was really fascinating to see all these shots, these beautiful shots of these, young boys dying and looking up, and then there's like heaven with the Nazi flag behind them and stuff like that. I mean, that's, how they were promoting, getting involved, you are doing this for a great cause. And, obviously it worked. It was very effective to get a lot of people to join the Nazi Party. The Minister of Propaganda knew what he was doing. So this is just a fascinating look at filmmaking during the time of the war from the Nazi perspective. The next documentary, Hollywood Harems. This explores Hollywood's fascination with Eastern culture and how they kind of combine all these different things like Persian, Chinese, Egyptian, and create these technicolor fantasies about those worlds. And more often than not, it was the white Westerns that had the morals and the stories. And but the weird thing about this documentary was all the shots they showed of these Eastern fantasy worlds and everything were really beautiful and really awesome. And it's like, yeah, I would like to be a part of that. That looks amazing. So I'm not sure if they got the message across, the moral message they were trying to impart. But I just, what's it called? Exoticism, and it's taken on such negative connotations now, but these really were beautiful fantasy worlds that were created. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about this right now, actually. But it was an interesting video. The next documentary was Real Herstory, and this is a history of Hollywood and the women who worked in it who have kind of been pushed back as far as people knowing about them. And the section I saw was divided into 3 sections. I saw the silent era. In the silent era, there were female directors. There was a French director, Alice, I can't say her name well, but she directed the first feature-length narrative movie. This is not in our history books. We are told about all these other male filmmakers, but she actually was part of that. And there were a lot of female directors, writers, producers in the silent age. And as the business of movie making evolved and all the unions started and everything, the women were kind of pushed out. And so, yeah, this is very fascinating if you're interested in real film history. And see, this is the problem. The history books are written by the people who are in power, basically. And so that's what happens. I'm really glad that this documentary series was put out. Jodie Foster narrates, and it's really great. And the final documentary is Tales from the Script. This is just a compilation of screenwriters talking about how they made it in Hollywood. And there are about 45 screenwriters interviewed. Only 5 of them are women. It's okay. I feel like I've seen most of these clips on YouTube in different short little videos, so I didn't really learn anything. So it doesn't really teach you how to write. It's, if you like little anecdotes and stuff, fine. But, I was not thrilled with this documentary. All right, that's it for the documentaries. I have to say, out of all of them, The Bronze Screen was my favorite. I highly recommend that. I loved how they put it together with all the different chapters and all the interviews. They actually interviewed people who worked in the industry. It wasn't just talking about the industry, it was coming from the viewpoint of people who really work in those positions and who grew up being stereotyped in Hollywood. So definitely, if you're going to see a documentary about Hollywood, check out The Bronze Screen. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.